guys. Welcome back to episode number 11 of Scripts and Screens. My name is Ashana Robinson.
And I'm Imani Nicole, and welcome back. I just want to start the episode off by telling y'all exactly how shady my co-host is before we got one thing. Are you confused? Okay, let me remind you because she forgot. And it just happened like 5 minutes ago. Let me tell y'all how shady my co-host is. She said, Imani, guess what? I said, girl, what? She was like, we have officially surpassed the equivalent differentials. Because that was my other podcast.
I just wanted to keep up with your progress.
Yes. And I love that for me because my whole thing was discipline and growing and like sticking to stuff. So that's actually such a huge win. And yeah, that was a podcast that I did in 2020 that was started. We only made it to 10 episodes.
Yeah. And I would listen when I drove.
She would tune in. So, and that's so crazy because like, I'm glad that I'm actually like doing something past the, the 10 mark. Mm-hmm. I just had to start y'all off with that. That was the morning tea and it's hot.
Well, shout out to Tayo and Imani though. And Kiera. She was in the vaccines too. I like all y'all.
Not you backpedaling. Say no.
No, we still surpassed, but shout out to this.
Right. Shout out to the old pod. It did what it needed to do. Shout out to the old co-host.
Wait, but I mean, in y'all's defense, it's a lot different. Like, it's so much movies and TV and stuff to talk about. Like,
it is.
And even like coming up with the hot topics, I got like, what do I want to mention this week? So it's probably probably a lot more work trying to have something to talk about relevant for them.
Yeah, for sure. And also like with me living here in Maryland and all of them living in Virginia. Oh my God, that was too much.
Right. So
2020 was crazy.
Oh yeah. For more than one reason. All right, guys.
Tea is so hot.
So tea or tea? Which one?
Which mean?
Never mind.
Okay. Did it miss me? It went over my head.
Yeah, I said tea or tea. Which one? Anyway, speaking of tea, guys, which I should have went back and listened to an old pod 2 episodes ago to make sure I didn't already mention this. But if I did, y'all gonna hear it again. So, like the early part of March, I went to New Orleans to see Drake and J.Cole. I had floor seats. So I know y'all know their song, First Person Shooter. And they also have been on tour. What's the name of the tour? Lord, I just went. I think it's All a Blur, Big as the What. So it's like they've kind of, I don't want to say clicked up, but they've definitely partnered up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what Drake has been doing to the music industry. People have been unfollowing him. Metro
Really?
Yes. Metro Boomin and Future dropped an album saying, we don't trust you. They're dropping a follow-up album saying, we still don't trust you on the 12th.
So I didn't know that Future was involved. I knew Metro. I heard about the Metro Drake beef, but I heard that like Future wasn't involved, but his loyalties to Metro. So if Metro don't trust you, how much, you know what I mean? So I guess from, like allegiance, it's like he's collateral damage. Yes. Like we're done too.
Yes. So it was a song on that album with Kendrick like that. And Kendrick disses J. Cole and Drake. He definitely says First Person Shooter. He definitely says K9's All the Dogs, which was Drake's last album. Drake has yet to respond. Yes, Drake has yet.
Which I'm shocked because Drake is petty. He's always quick with a response. So I'm actually super shocked. So maybe there's some growth. I love that for Drakey.
He's just been posting pictures and captions, but no actual rap.
And barrettes and braids.
Yes. And then so J. Cole drops an EP right before his Dream Fest, where he basically is calling To Pimp a Butterfly a slow, boring album. And I love J. Cole, but he dropped For Your Eyes Only, or I believe that's the name of it. And that definitely was a sleeper too, so he can't really say anything. And To Pimp a Butterfly was a classic. And then he turns around and he apologizes at Dream Fest because he said,
yes, I saw that.
Lame. Which I don't know. Like, I think it's so weird because all these people work together. I mean, I know stuff transpires, but it's like they have songs together, they make hits together, and then here we are.
Shawnee, think about your friendships throughout the years.
I know.
Like, even, and it's not that we're not even cool with Brianna, my roommate from college, but like the 3 of us in college, a triad. I couldn't tell you where Brianna is right now. I could not tell you. I cannot tell you the last thing
I
she
can look
worked. I
on
know her birthday
Instagram.
just passed
Yeah,
because you said what? What did she do yesterday?
I said no. I can look on Instagram, but yes, she did have just had a birthday. Shout out to Brianna too.
Yeah. So I feel like that's just comes with life is like people grow and do different things and like you're not going to always agree because like there's been times where, there has been some inner issues amongst friends. So I feel like that happens all the time where like I've been super cool with people and then you ask me through 2 years later and I'm like, Kiki Palmer, I don't know that. I don't know this man.
Yeah.
I don't, if he saw me, I wouldn't know who it is. Like, so I could definitely see how it could happen in the industry where a lot more money is involved, a lot more politics are involved, and the stakes are way more higher and serious.
I think maybe I'm just petty. Like, if you beefing out loud and you dissing me, you telling me my shit is boring and you've been hyping me up the whole time, I don't think I can. I'm not gonna work with you again. I don't know.
So you don't feel like when you ever got in a fight with somebody, you might say something just because you want to hurt them, not because it's necessarily true.
But I don't think I do it on a platform. Like it might be, all right, we on the phone and we arguing, but I think it's just so public. I do have a lot of pride. I know that. Like
Yeah, I do
pride
too,
is the
for
killer
sure.
for me. So you go in
Yeah.
here on the internet and you got people tweeting about how you talking about you don't like my music or like it's boring and all that. But we was just cool and you going to do a song with me again in 2 months. I don't know how I'm
Yeah.
that.
I get that too, but I also think that it's kind of like an actor, right? Like
True.
you have a bunch of movies
True.
and like not all of them are going to be good.
That is good.
Some of them aren't going to be good. And I think that like when he targeted Kendrick, he was talking about that. And I just think that J. Cole I don't think he was talking wide as an artist. I think he was just talking about certain things, but then magnifying it to make it seem like that characterize everything. But anybody with a brain knows you can't say Kendrick is, that wasn't going to work. So even if he tried that, it wasn't going to work. And I think it's funny because I wanted to ask you, like, because I know you're kind of a fan of both, but it sounds like you're more of a Kendrick fan than a J. Cole.
No, I am a
Because
fan
Kendrick
of
had you in a chokehold in college.
Yeah, Good Kid, Mad City. Oof. 2012.
Yeah, it had you in a chokehold. So I was interested, and I was like, let me ask Shawnee if she had to choose. But if you had to choose, if you on the line, where are you going?
Probably Kendrick.
Okay. For me, I think I'm going Drake, then Kendrick, then Cole.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. It's just they give different vibes. Like
they do, but if I had to live, if I couldn't listen to another, like if I had to look at my like Apple playlist or songs, things I could live without, I have more. I'm not gonna lie, I have more Drake.
Yes, and also I think the same with Lil Wayne. Like people, I know I don't list him as my favorite artist, but when it comes to his songs, like I think I probably know for word a lot more.
Weezy and Baby.
Yes. And this is petty, and I tried to tell him I didn't want to be like a bad quote unquote stepmother, but Vlad took his daughter to see Drake and Wayne floor seats, and I was so jealous. She's only like 15, but
oh wow.
Yes. And I know we just went in New Orleans, but I'm like, damn, I would have loved to see Lil Wayne that close.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But
for sure. Lil Wayne is goated. Like,
yeah,
he's goated. Even though like the newer things he's been doing, I don't too much. And I don't know if it's that Wheezy's the problem or just like with the world things grow and change and that he's still giving us that same Wheezy because like I feel like a lot of us, myself included, are like Wheezy's not the same. Wheezy's not the same.
Right.
But I don't know. Like I'd have to really listen to songs up close to see if there's really not a difference because like I feel like he is still on his same and my musical tastes have kind of changed. But for me, like this whole Drake, Cole, and Kendrick beef kind of like I kind of can't play in the game. It's like I can't be, well, I guess I could be on the board, but my vote would be like, I'm trying to get political because it's that time. Mm-hmm. My vote would be like Virginia compared to like your vote being Florida because let's be real, like the music I listen to, I'm more of a beat girl.
Oh yeah.
I'm more of a catchy tune girl. I'm not more of a like, oh, you didn't even see how he did that. Like I'm not over here like telling people like you don't even get it. Right. You don't get his music. Like I'm not even on that type of time. So I wouldn't even be able to like sit on a panel and really judge these three artists because for me, I'm more of a pop and bop. So I kind of, but they're all talented, but I do really like Kendrick. And when I think of like songs that really have touched my soul and spirit, I put Cole last, right? Yeah, I'm picking Kendrick, like Cartoons and Cereal. I love that song. Then there was something about the makeup. I can't remember the song right now, but it goes hard. Like Kendrick has them good, like And Bless, Schoolboy Q and Kendrick, classic. Like I don't know. Like I think Cole is talented, but for me, it's Kendrick.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Cole realized that too. I think in the moment he was like, people probably around him like, you gotta drop something, you gotta say something, you gotta say something.
And that's what he said. He said there were people around him saying like, "You just gonna let him talk to you like that?" And that's funny how men work. They're easily like, "Oh, 3 guys told me like I can't go down, like I can't look like no, then I have to go do it."
Right.
And he realized like that was corny.
He stood on his business like, okay, I did this, but here at my festival, I'm gonna tell y'all, I think it was lame. Like, I don't agree with you doing it. I do really like that about him.
Me too. I did too. Me too. I like that too. When he said it didn't sit right with his spirit, because I've been in situations like that before where I didn't handle it correctly and it didn't really sit right on my spirit. But we live and we learn.
Yep, we sure did. So, yep. We will see how this.
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. We'll see how. But you said that Future and Metro said they're coming out with another disc. Like this is not. This is just we're just warming up.
Friday, supposedly.
Damn, they were quick, boy. Oh my gosh. But I do agree. Like I was seeing things on the internet where like I like this like natural, not natural, but like the beef is giving us nostalgia of like how it used to be back in the day when people were like, the Drake and Meek Mill with the battle of the songs. So I do like that aspect of it too. I just hope it remains like fun and funny and it doesn't get serious.
Because he like dropped like 2 back to back with Meek Mill and he has yet to say anything. Like he already know. Like
let's say anything about how they became good again or what?
No. Like, they had that beef and then I think he dropped back to back and charged up maybe against Meek Mill, maybe not in that order. And then they said he went and got a hotel room above Meek Mill and all he played was back to back. Like he has no energy for Kendrick.
Getting a hotel room and playing back to back. Can you imagine being in the room underneath and just hearing back to back? Drake is crazy.
That's what they said. I did hear this, yes.
Drake is crazy. That's hilarious. Drake is crazy. Okay, we'll have to just see how this unfolds. Next on our plate. Have you ever watched Bridget Jones' Diary?
No.
And you know what? And that's completely okay. With Renee Zellweger.
It does not sound like it sounds familiar, but doesn't.
There's like 3 of them. The last one I think was like Bridget Jones' Baby.
Okay, I'm seeing now. Let's see.
Yes, it's a classic. And I only saw it because of my best friend in middle school. She like hipped me and we watched it and I really liked it. I was like, oh wow, this is really cute.
It's given Young Imani. I can definitely see you watching this.
You can see it. You can see it. You can see me with the girlies and a Cosmo magazine and a pint of Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream. Like, okay, girlies, let's watch. That's that was my vibe in middle school. Like, a perfect day to me was going to Chipotle and tropical smoothie and then hanging out with my bestie. Really, I feel like I have to go and rewatch and catch up. And they're bringing back like Hugh Grant, Renee's in it, but I'm wondering if the other guy. I gotta remember how it left off because she has like 2 love interests, and I don't know if he's necessarily coming back. So that's gonna be interesting to see. But I feel like that's what but that was like the highlight of Renee Zellweger's career is Bridget Jones' Diary. Okay, so Hugh Grant and Colin Firth. Firth. I don't know if I'm saying it right. And he's from the Kingsmen and stuff. He was her other love interest and she used to go like back and forth between the 2 of them. But I don't know if he's going to be in the other ones because it looks like he was only in like 1 or 2 of them. So maybe he dissipates in the 3rd. I got to rewatch. But I'm like super duper excited about that because like Bridget Jones was kind of like your everyday girl. Like didn't really have her life together and like didn't really think the highest of herself, didn't think that she could pull certain people. And then like here she has like 2 men fighting over her. So it's like one of those good, like feel good rom-coms that I'm just really excited to see. So for those listeners that are big BG fans, Bridget Jones fans, there's going to be a 4th one. So I guess we'll go
with you. And
what did you say?
I'll go with you. If we go to the movies, we'll sneak in. If we're at your house,
oh my gosh, yes. Can we do a throwback? And you know what? We need to also figure out what we're going to do on that Sunday after the party.
Yeah, we got to get on the You need to get on the phone.
We have a lot to do in very little time. A lot
Yeah.
to do in very little time. And normally I would be so stressed and so chaotic, but honestly, like my new morning routines are like getting me, you know, ready. Like I got up at 4 a.m. today. I've been up since 4.
Okay. Because at 5:30,
Went to the gym.
Like, you already went to the gym?
Went to the gym, girl. Got up at 4. Went to the gym. So I only went for 30 minutes on the tread because I'm doing a 7-day detox. So I'm not eating anything. I'm just like drinking tea and smoothies. So I can't really, you know, work out hard because I don't need to be in the hospital.
Right.
But yeah, I'm almost 30, so I feel like I need to cleanse 21 through 29 out of me. 1 through 29 gotta go to make room for the big 3-0.
Yeah.
So, and you know, and I like try to find little ways to like drive my car. So, you know, I just felt like, you know, driving my little Porsche, parking it, then, you know, going into the gym. It's been cute. It's been cute.
I've been telling people, well, like my parents, like, is my car? I'm like, yeah, Imani got her a Porsche.
Right.
Imani bought herself a Porsche. I can read around it. Literally.
I love that. Thank you for uplifting me and celebrating my wins. I love that.
It's so cute. I'm so excited. I'm like, what the
I'm gonna pick you. I'm gonna pick you up in it.
Yeah.
Once because you're coming in on Friday, right?
No, I think I have to go to the doctor on Friday.
Okay, so you're gonna come Saturday morning?
Yes, Saturday.
Okay.
Me and India will get there around the same time. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool beans. Yes, it's gonna be so much fun. So moving into plot and pop.
Jesus.
This week we had some heavy hitters. This week,
yeah,
we watched some real interesting things. Lots of conversation for this stuff this week.
I'm just looking at my notes from Quiet on Set, and I didn't even organize.
Yeah,
just writing stuff down.
Yeah, me too. I just wrote stuff down. We're gonna get better. That's why we're doing our rebrand. Yes. So it's y'all are gonna get. It's gonna get better on the pod, bigger and better.
I already organize it, and it's just this one. It was just so much going on. Like
it was. Yeah, I have a lot. Yeah.
I was.
No, literally.
What? All right, I'll read the description. Let's see.
Okay.
All right. So Quiet on Set is a docuseries that uncovers the toxic culture behind some of the most iconic children's shows of the late 1990s and early 2000s. So guys, Dan Snyder, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but honestly, I hate to give him this title, but he's like the goat of Nickelodeon. I'm sorry. I hate to.
He is.
But he is.
He has a catalog. The Nickelodeon catalog is Dan Snyder.
Literally. So all that, Kenan and Kel, the Amanda Show, Henry Danger, Avery loves that show. I think maybe the Thundermans too. She watches that.
I've never heard of Henry Danger. What did you call it?
Henry Danger. It's more of a newer show.
It's a new age. And Dan Snyder did that one too, even the new age one?
I'm pretty sure. Let me look that up. But
Does anyone know if he's still there working at Nickelodeon?
Oh no, they said they let him go. And he's trying to get back into children's TV. And they were saying like because it was an extra episode. I don't know if you watched because it was 4 and then they added one.
No, and I was going to tell you I didn't get to do that one because I finished this a while ago. And then I had noticed yesterday that they added it. And I'm like, I tried to download it and listen at my part-time, but it didn't.
Yeah, it was just really them.
It wouldn't let me download it.
Drake after the fact. So it wasn't really part of the original docuseries.
I got you. Okay, so then I saw everything then.
Yeah, so Dan did a lot of creepy stuff, but he doesn't have anything concrete for them to really lock him up unless Amanda Bynes really comes out behind them tweets about him raping her and getting her pregnant at 13. Now she came out.
So Amanda tweeted that?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I didn't know that. Yeah. In the docuseries, like I feel like, and this is the thing, because I didn't know that background information, I felt like everybody was like Dan Schneider. But I didn't even get that from this document. I mean, yes, this guy's Looney Tunes, weirdo, disgusting. But Brian Peck, to me, it just outdoes everybody. And I just feel like still for some reason, Dan Schneider is getting like the brunt of it, which I believe he should. But Brian Peck's name they need to be synonymous. They need to be twin brothers in this, fraternal twins. Like Brian Peck is disgusting and nasty.
Yeah.
And I feel like people aren't saying his name as much as they are Dan Schneider.
Definitely. And I what to say. Like I think I went into it like you, like expecting this to really just expose Dan Snyder. Like, all right, they're gonna be at his house like they are Diddy's. But the more I
Yes.
watched it, I'm like, they don't really have anything. Like, he was weird. He made his
Yeah.
staff do weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He never has anything documented as far as
You're right. Nothing's concrete.
like Jason Handy when he was emailing that little girl Brandy, which
Yes.
the
Him too.
yeah, the fact like I guess just being a mom, having someone email Avy, that is absolutely no. I don't care what he can do for our future. No, 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 no. That was already a
Yeah.
big no.
My mom was big on that too growing up. Like, nobody's parents should be messaging you, none of
No,
that.
no,
Like,
because it's
and my
weird.
mom was on it, so she was on it. And what was his name again? That guy that was emailing? Did you
Jason
write it?
Handy, Jason Handy.
Jason Hanby, and then also him having Ziploc bags of each little girl and like the mementos. You're disgusting. And he
Disgusting.
wasn't a bad looking guy. Not that like look should be associated with it, but I know you could get a woman of your
Right.
age, your caliber, and you're interested in little girls. It's disgusting.
And the way they talked about him, like he wasn't a creep, like he was a really like nice person to be around. So I'm sure he had women, but he just I don't know that demonic spirit on him. I don't know, but yeah. And then he emailed her a picture of himself, and she was like 8, I think, or 9.
Yeah, and she started crying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, poor
And then,
girl.
and then the mom. I do feel like these parents failed these kids because as soon as she told her that, she should
Yeah.
have went to the police because she could have stopped so much other stuff if they would have went
Yeah,
ahead.
but I feel like that's a big thing to put on a person because just like with and I didn't write down the names. I need to start writing down the names. But even like the black mom that would like kind of cause hell on set, and then she kind of even dialed back. She's like, I don't want to mess up the opportunity for my kid. So it's like you can go one of two ways, and it's like. And I think back in that time, it was show business. You know what I mean? Like that just is what came with it. Like this is Dan Schneider, just a Harvey Weinstein. Like this stuff has been going on, and people have not been saying anything for months. Harvey Weinstein was on his Diddy. Like you're not going to get this role unless you come to the room and you do this, this, and this. So it's like it's just hard because that seemed to be the culture. You got the Jeffrey Epstein Island, and I don't know if you heard, and I got this from people at work, so I don't know how concrete it is. I probably should have looked it up, but they were saying like the old Nickelodeon logo they believe is Epstein
Oh
Island.
yeah, I did hear that.
So it's like it's just like I don't know. Like I do see that some like I saw a lot of comments about people saying the parents, the parents, the parents, but I don't know. I feel like also we have to remember these people. If we think about our parents, they're becoming parents at 21.
Yeah,
How smart and logical is your brain at 21? Like
mine.
when
But I was a parent. I'm
I
like, I don't know. I just don't like. Okay, so like, if Avery gets hit at school, or someone's bullying her at school, I'm gonna say something. If a grown man sends a naked picture to my kid, my 9-year-old, I just
yeah,
don't see me, especially if it's concrete evidence, like it's on the screen. It's not like
yeah,
hearsay. It's not like I gotta back her up and be like trying to convince the police. He literally sent evidence to her computer.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree completely, but I think the world we live in is just there's ways around it where like he could have been like, "Oh, my email was hacked." You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And it's just like, do I really want to drag my 8-year-old daughter through all of
Mm-hmm.
this? And I think the mom at the time was just like, you know what? We're just gonna be done with it. We're gonna wipe our hands clean of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do get what you're saying because it's also like you being quiet though. It's like that bystander effect
Mm-hmm.
where now another girl gets,
Right.
something else happens that's way worse and you do beat yourself up, but there's no guarantee that her speaking up would have stopped it,
Right. Because
you
as Drake
know?
said, which Drake Bell, you guys are familiar with Drake. That's the first Drake I knew before Aubrey. Well, no.
No, literally, that's the first Drake. He's the first Drakey,
Yeah.
Drakey-O.
Because I knew Aubrey Graham, Drake Graham
Mm-hmm.
from Degrassi. But like when I
Right.
knew Drake, it was only literally the Drake from Drake and Josh. But even like Brian Peck, who molested Drake on multiple occasions in multiple different ways, like, I don't even know what I was about to say.
Were you talking about the parent? Because the mom? Because that was a
Yes.
bit,
Yes.
yeah.
So Drake's dad was his manager and basically was like, no, I don't like this dude. And they tried
Right.
to make him feel like he was homophobic, like, okay, well, Brian's gay. Maybe that's what you're getting from him.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's
Which
like,
makes it even worse.
right,
Because if he's gay, then that means my son is eligible.
right.
If I had a daughter, what the hell?
So all Drake's dad was like telling his mom was like, do not let Drake stay over there. Do not have this man alone with Drake. And she couldn't even do that. And
Yeah,
literally,
that to me, I agree that now that parenting 1 million, 1,000, whatever.
She failed him.
Why is he spending the night at a young, and even if they are practicing, it doesn't need to go all night. Like when I tell you the way my mother would not let me spend the night over people's houses, she didn't know.
No.
Like, and there wasn't no, and it was always like, no, they can come over here. Like my mom was so big on, you want to have a sleepover? No, all the girls come over here. So like my house became that place where everybody was at because my mom could keep eyes. I never realized that as a kid growing up. It's just like, oh, everyone just comes to my house to hang out. And then like there was a handful of moms that my mom trusted that she would let me go spend the night over there. But yeah, like there's no reason why Drake should have been spending the night at that man's house. Like even if that's his acting coach, like it's absolutely no reason. I'm not trying to say that like Drake and Josh can't win an Emmy, but there was nothing about those lines that required an all-nighter, that required to be up all night. Absolutely nothing. This was not Macbeth. This was not like this was not anything of that capacity to need to be an all-nighter situation to have them doing that. And I agree there that the mom really, like, I don't know what she was going through at the time. I can't really speak to that, but it's inexcusable, and you did fail your son. And it's not to say that you're a bad person, because we all make mistakes, but you failed your son in that moment. You really failed your son. And we've all failed somebody, whether you fail your parent, you fail your kids, you fail your friends, whatever. In that moment, you failed your son. You just did. And I don't think Drake even holds it against his mom. I mean, I don't know. We're not in that dynamic. But when he spoke on the documentary, I don't feel like he was blaming his mother.
Yeah, he was basically blaming Brian, saying like he was so manipulative. And I guess just the space that they were in, he was able to just wiggle his way around, say all the right things.
And thank God that God, you know, put another adult, his girlfriend, because Drake had a girlfriend, and the mom was like, why is that man calling your phone like that? That's weird and unacceptable. And she called him, was like, hey, something's going on and we need to figure it out. I don't know what is exactly going on, but it's not normal and it's not okay. So thank God for that.
Right. I think it's so weird that all this like was happening at the height of Drake and Josh, because you know Drake on the show was like the cool one, and like he couldn't. I never would have been watching it thinking like, oh, this man is going through that during this time.
Right. No, I wouldn't have either. I would have never thought that. But then, like, I remember when I was looking at the, and they didn't touch on this in the documentary, which, you know, I feel like everyone does that. But, like, I feel like Drake had a couple skeletons of his own. I had saw something about him and an ex-girlfriend.
Really?
Yes. And I don't remember if what happened with it, if it was him, was it a DUI or was it a...
I know he did have a DUI, and it said something like inappropriate or endangerment of a child too.
Yeah, something. And I was like, wait, what is that about? Can we get into that?
They lays right.
And I can't even find it right now. I'm trying to look for it. But I remember when I was watching the episode, I was trying to find like what was exactly going on, because I remember seeing something that was a little like, okay, well, what did he have going on back then to go on? And then like they were saying, this is what's from Google. It says his ex-girlfriend accused him of verbal and physical abuse. They were dating when she was 16 and he was 20 years old. Yeah.
Yikes.
So it's just like, it's so difficult, because do I feel like, and this is the big thing about the age guys, because you know there's the stuff in the press about Drea and Jalen Green, and I'm not a mom, but as a mother, I do not want my 20-year-old son dating a 40-year-old woman. I don't really care what people say about you mature quicker and things like that. Yes, I do believe that's possible, but I still believe no matter how quickly you mature, at 20 years old, you have not learned life. You have not had experiences. You have not created your own standard for yourself. Even if you're mature, it's based off other standards or things you've been exposed to. You have not had the time to know yourself. So for me, I think when it's those age gaps at a young age, it's unacceptable in my opinion. But as you get older, if you have like a 35-year-old and a 50-year-old, I can see it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think like with Drea and Jalen Green, I don't want to say these women pray, but they do pray, because I'm pretty sure when Jalen Green was 13, 14, Drea was a crush. So then now that she's attainable, he gonna go for it. Definitely gonna go for
And
it.
also, like, when people are like saying like, bro, she's, you know, like a throat goblin, or you know, whatever the numerous things they're saying, what they have to realize, and like, to me, like, I don't know, I'm not looking to Jalen to be with him, like, and not saying that Jalen wants to be with me, because you know how, like, the minute you say that, they hop in the comments going crazy. But you have to also look at like the realm that this man is in, because allegedly he got another girl pregnant. So it's like, this is
That
just a young man who does not really care. So like, we can't hold him to this standard of like, oh, he's this child, and like, because he has a different agenda. Like, to me, from like, I don't know him, I could be completely way off, but I think it goes back to what you're saying, like it being a childhood crush, and like his mindset right now is like, I'm in a position I've never been before, with money I've never had before, everything and anyone's for the taking. And I don't think he's going to marry Drea. So like, when we're sitting here having these, or the world or media is having these conversations about like, oh, he's just a little boy, that man is not marrying Drea.
he's not, and I don't think
He
she
has
wants
no
to marry
intentions
him.
of that. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's fitting. So so my whole thing is like, I'm more so looking at Drea like, is that what you wanted? Like, do you not want to be a wife? You just
yeah,
want to like have babies with men who have coin? Then okay, then you
yeah,
guys are both getting what you want.
yeah. She definitely said in an interview that she doesn't see herself with him. I gotta find the interview, but yeah, so she already knew what time it was.
Yeah.
So, but my thing is, I'm like, dang, you get money and y'all are ready to throw it away. Like, dang, you just got this money and you already
Yeah.
trying to. It's already going child support at least 2 ways.
Yeah, but I'm also like, is it even worth the child support? That, like, for me, I want kids, but I want kids to be able to spend time with them and have like a family, not to have the dad not be present and, you know, be on the road all the time, one with games. So that's what gets to me. Like, you both already really don't see a legit future. You're putting yourself in a situation to give that child to not have present dad. Why would you sign your kid up for that?
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
doesn't make sense. Like, why would you do that? And I remember you making a point of that. Like, why are you, and not to promote that, like, if you are in a situation like that, that you should get, you know, an abortion, anything like that. I'm not telling anybody what they should do with their body, but I'm saying we should be more conscious, like, make more conscious decisions. That's all.
Even like, I know we get way off topic, but even like people who have babies with men that they know didn't work. Like, I'm not attracted to men that don't work. If you're not working,
Yeah.
for one, how are you taking me out to even court me to be able to be with me
Well,
intimately?
I think the people that where that happens is like, you could be in a situation where you have everything, you don't need the man for that, and like, you literally just, but I think that's a codependency problem, because I don't think they're using him then for the like the, or wanting the courtship. They want the presence of someone.
Well, they need to wrap it
Like, they
up.
want someone to cuddle with, they want someone to like text every day and call every day, when those things really are very tiny, and they
Yeah,
really don't
they
amount to
need to
anything.
be a little more careful because they'll be the main ones. I do all for my kid. He don't do nothing. Blah blah. Especially on Facebook, and I'm like, well, you knew he didn't have any money. Like, you knew he didn't have any money. You thought he was gonna miraculously get some money just because you have a baby now. Like, and
Yeah.
regardless, like me and Avery's dad, of course, we did not work, but he's always been a
Yeah.
hardworking man, and I don't have to worry because that child support check come through every
That joint catches in like clockwork.
clockwork. But we've been better off now than we ever have since he's been on child support because it's just I don't have to ask him for
Yeah, and
anything.
I
It's
always
just here.
encourage. Like, I have friends that like have. I'm like, even if y'all are good, I don't think that like you shouldn't have a legal document, because being good, feelings are temporary and fleeting.
Yes.
You need to have a legal document that says, when I'm not feeling you and you're not feeling me, it don't matter. We have to follow what's written here,
Mm-hmm.
what we agreed upon when we were in our right and sane minds, because human nature is to be petty, to put yourself above others. So I always encourage people, like, if you don't have a custodial agreement, to just do it. Even if you don't want to put them on child support, whatever, put it for the lowest amount, and y'all work out whatever y'all want to work out behind the scenes, if you want him to do more, whatever. But there needs to be a legal document. I don't care if he gives you money all the time. You just need that security and that insurance, because things are not always going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's important.
Right.
But, you know, look at Drake stemming us. We done circled to Drake's dating history, physical, verbal abuse, and I wonder
Right.
if he's going to speak on that. Like, I really wonder if he's going to speak on that.
So I did want to bring this up, and he did mention it in the very last episode. I didn't watch the whole thing because I realized it was more so him just kind of reflecting on what they did.
Yeah.
But basically, of course, he told the police. He finally just let his mom know that what Brian Peck had been doing to him, which I thought
Mm-hmm.
was crazy that they made him call. and get Brian to confess, that seemed like that would be very traumatic for me.
Yeah,
Very traumatic.
that would be, I would be shaking and
Yeah.
like crying.
Yeah. I mean, I understand what they wanted. They needed like the concrete evidence, but still, I just feel like. So he was saying how when Brian was convicted, they went to court and it was so many people from Hollywood on Brian's side, like supporting Brian.
Yes, James Marsden. I was like, not James.
I
I
wrote it.
love
Yeah, I
James.
wrote all of that down. And then the guys from Boys Meet World, Will Friedle, I think he says, and Ryder Strong. Did I say that name right? But not like the main characters. I think it's the brother and the best friend from Boys Meet World.
Yeah.
They wrote letters supporting, I'm about to say Dan Snyder Lord, Brian Peck. So these letters were sealed until like this year. So I guess they thought they weren't going to come out. And then they got on their podcast and basically was like, Brian Peck was like, can y'all write a letter on my behalf? And didn't give them the details.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that like, because I think Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher did the same thing, where like they were asked to just write character, like who do you know this person to be? Like they're
Right.
not really asked to give an opinion on the case, and I don't think that they've. And that's where it's hit or miss, because let's look at Jonathan Majors, because you have one or two options when things like this happen, because things have not gone to court and you really don't know. You have one or two things to do: either believe the person that you know for them to be who they are, or you just believe then you don't get the innocent till proven guilty. Because technically, if we want to say innocent till proven guilty, then people can write those letters. But it's a hard place to be in, because I look at it like, look at all the people that dropped Jonathan Majors and then it turned out to be wrong.
Right.
So it's like it's kind of like, but what if it had turned out to be right? Then
Right.
where would we be? So it's like, I don't know. It's tough. It's difficult.
What Drake was saying was on that follow-up episode is, okay, even if that is true, he had worked with, I think, Ryder Strong or one of them.
Yeah.
And none of them apologized. Like once it came out, they didn't be like, yo, bro, I'm so sorry. This is what happened. They just kept going on about their day, standing on business. And he was like, it'd been different if they would have
Not
reached
10
out.
toes down on business.
Yes. Yeah. If they would have reached out, like, we were wrong. We were asked to do this. We did that because he was our friend. But they never said that to him. They just.
Yeah. And then it also goes back to like Drake saying that Dan Schneider was one of his biggest advocates. Like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Like, and then I don't know if you heard, but like, then Josh from Drake and Josh, like, did a TikTok where it was like, if I haven't talked to you in 6 years, that means you don't exist to me anymore. And like, people like lit his ass up on the internet.
Why would he?
I know. Like, even if it wasn't in regards to Drake, like everything going on, you knew that we were going to associate.
Right.
So it's just like, but then I also like, I'm in a tough, it's in a tough spot, because, okay, so here's my thing, Shani. So let's say you went to, let's make this situation your life, right? And let's say there are people that like maybe didn't like knew, like, let's say people that we worked with in bio. Let's say my man's from bio. You remember that guy? I can't remember his name right now, but we knew him and he was in our bio class, and he sometimes would get irritated with us because he was like actually trying to like listen and learn. Oh my God, I can't remember his Todd.
Like, I didn't party with Todd so much since then.
So, okay, so you know how we weren't really close to Todd, but we knew Todd. So let's say like something that happened in that classroom and something came out. Like, let's say the teacher, that you got dropped from that class, kicked out, nobody, like, and we were told because you were cheating. Lo and behold, we find out that it's not, that it was, all lies. Do you feel like people that don't really truly know you and hang out with you should hit you up to like say, I'm sorry that happened to you, now that we know? If everyone in that class wrote a letter talking about the professor, like, she's a good professor, we always known her to be fair, but like the professor was targeting you, but nobody knew, and then it comes out that like you indeed were, like, would you expect the class to then be like, hey?
See, I think that's where it gets tricky. I would not expect the class, but I would expect you. And
Yeah.
Drake and Josh were literally Drake and Josh. They worked together every day. They were partners in crime. So I think that's where it gets messy. It'd be different if it was Miranda Cosgrove versus Josh. But it's
okay,
like,
yes,
if you didn't say anything and me and you were buddy,
yeah, we worked on a set doing this for years,
then that's completely different. That's like Kenan and Kel. Something happened between Kenan and Kel not saying anything.
That's true.
Kenan.
even if it's been years, like, I think you're right. Like, that's so true. Even if
Yeah.
it's been years, I think you have to put like that behind that it doesn't matter. And I think sometimes people get caught up in the like, well, I haven't talked to them in 20 years. Like, we're not really friends. That's not really the point. The point is that this happened and you knew this person during this point in time in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So you should acknowledge it.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes people play the like, well, if I don't say anything, then I can't really, like, silence, like, you know, like when
Yeah.
people don't comment on political issues or religion, it's like, by me just being quiet, then I can't kind of be
Yeah.
pushed or swayed in any kind of way.
Yeah. Definitely. Whew, yeah, it's a lot. But the fact that he was like saying Dan Snyder was the only one supporting him, this documentary really was a roller coaster for me because I really went in thinking that they was gonna crucify this man, Dan.
Yes, and then circling back to Brian Peck, how Disney Channel hired his ass after all this was
For the
going on.
sweet life of Zach and Cody with two little boys.
Cody,
We're like,
I
wait a
was
minute.
like, what is going on? But then it brought me back to that Jonathan Majors thing. Like, do you then cut this man off from all work until he's actually prosecuted? Like, I thought that was crazy that he did sit there and was hired to work to be on
And
The
they
Sweet Life
handed
of Zach and
him
Cody.
two little boys on a platter, essentially, Zach and Cody.
No, literally, like, you're gonna be working hand in hand, and like and this is, I want this to come out correctly and not be misconstrued or twisted. Zach and Cody were two cute little boys, two twin cute little blonde-haired little boys. Like, when I think about my type back in that time frame, that was it. It was like, you know, the little skater boy, like they would whip that joint to the side, be on skateboards, wearing Vans, Roxy, PacSun, like that, Hollister. That was that era of like,
Yeah.
the It Boys. So it's like, it's disturbing. It's disturbing that I feel like I don't know what Disney Channel was thinking.
Yeah, that was a misstep in all types of ways.
And I want a Disney Channel one too. Like, we need a I don't know, silence on set, Disney edition. Because I know that there's something with the Hillary Duffs and the Lindsay Lohans of the world. I know Disney was on something, and Raven and the Eddie situation.
Yes, because
there's a lot going on there at Disney.
With Eddie, Avery's in the age now that she's really watching the old Raven, and I've been binge watching that with her, and just seeing Eddie then and now, even Raven, it's like, what happened?
Yeah. And Amanda Bynes too. Even when I was watching Quiet on Set, and then I look at Amanda, like, I literally was looking up her Instagram page. I'm like, it's crazy because Amanda Bynes was that girl. When I tell you that girl, like, what a girl wants, she's the man. Yeah. Sydney White. Yeah. Like, the catalog was crazy. Like, to me, she was like the biggest.
Yeah, she was. And then now, just look at her. And it's like, literally, she's the only one that can really take down Dan Snyder, because even after watching all the episodes, there was actually nothing sexual that he did concrete. It was just a bunch of abusive relationships.
Yeah. And it was just a bunch of him being inappropriate. Like, there was definitely some cases for like some HR employee, you know, some sexual harassment kind of things. Like, because if he would have called me in the office to massage his back, respectfully, I decline. I'm not rubbing them Pillsbury shoulders. I'm not doing it, Dan. No. And I didn't even realize that Dan was in Good Burger. Like, honestly, I didn't know who Dan Schneider was till this documentary. I'm like, wait, this is Dan Schneider. He was in Good Burger. And like, I see that, like, I wonder if they reached out to Keenan.
I think they did. I think I saw something about it and saved it. I'll have to look. And
he was probably like, I'm good.
Yeah. But yeah, they did show like Brian Hearn, the little black boy, and then Giovanni Samuels. I didn't write the other girl's name down, but it did seem like he might have been a little more, you know, towards the white kids, which is expected. But other than that, yeah, it's nothing concrete for Dan. They can't lock him up.
They certainly cannot. So, and I wonder what, like, so I guess Dan will probably never work. Like, I don't know what's. I don't know what's gonna happen with that, but it's just, this was very interesting and very crazy. And my last point on this is, you know what's interesting, what show they did not bring up?
What?
And I wonder if it's because of who her dad and aunt is. Do you remember the show with Emma Roberts? She would play that little guitar. Oh my gosh, you don't remember the show? Where she would be, let me see if I can find the name of it. But I thought that was interesting that they didn't bring that show up at all.
Oh yeah, please bring that up, because I don't remember that. And while you're doing that, I'll say this. So I know I've been having you watch random episodes of Atlanta, but there's this one episode. I don't know if you met. Well, you wouldn't have met, but so Childish Gambino's character Earn has a kid on the show, and she's only like in 2 episodes the whole time.
But he's
But
had this kid all along.
yes, with
Okay.
Van. I don't know if you met Van too in any of the episodes that I had you watch. Very pretty. What's her name? Zazie Beetz from Deadpool. The
I don't
natural
watch
hair one.
Deadpool, girl.
Okay, it's the natural hair
With Ryan
girl.
Reynolds, yeah, no, I've never been a Deadpool girl.
Yeah, me either. But she's in that. So
Okay.
they have a baby together. And the kid is about Avery's age. She's like 7. And they go on this, like, I guess it's a Tyler Perry type character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like a big studio. And the baby's name is Lottie. Well, she's kid. Kid's name's Lottie. And she's an extra. But she says something sassy. And the Tyler Perry character is, like, kind of all present. Like, he's not physically in the room, but he's, like, on these intercoms. And he's like, I like that kid. I'm going to write stuff for her. So every time Van gets to set, they keep moving Lottie. Like she's like, where's my kid? And they're like, oh, she's over and doing a set for a school. So Van will go over to that set, get there, and they've moved her. And they literally keep moving her all over this like Tyler Perry like studios. And when I tell you that episode gives me so much anxiety, I'm like, I don't want nothing to do. My kid do nothing with any type of show business. I don't know. It scares me so much. And every time someone's like, you should put Avery in a commercial. She's so cute. I'm like, hell no. Hell no. She can be cute in other ways as a regular person. But that show business mess is just not working for me.
You want to do it where you have control of the narrative, which is kind of like, Ryan's World. Does she watch that?
Oh, she loves Ryan, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like their parents got it down pat. You gonna play with these toys in this house with us.
Yes.
Easy.
That's it. That is it.
And they don't have to mold to anything. I mean, I'm sure, of course, people have come to them with money and been like, hey, we want an episode on this. But like, Ryan gets to remain a child. Mm-hmm. I found the name of the show, Unfabulous. You remember that joint?
Yes.
And I'm like, you know what? Because her dad and her aunt is Julia Roberts, they probably knew better than to play that with Emma. Mm-hmm. Ain't no way. Like, let me call my aunt. Let me call my dad. Because it's not going down.
Every time.
So I thought that was very interesting. That they didn't even show glimpses of that show. So I guess that was the only show where people was acting right.
Mm-hmm. Good.
That was the only one where they were acting right. But yeah, that was my last thing to say about that.
Yeah, just sad. Protect your kids, guys.
Yes, protect the little ones. Let kids be kids. Let kids be kids, please. All right, moving on to our next one, which is Poor Things, which did win an Oscar. What's her name? Emma Stone.
Yes.
She won an Oscar for Poor Things. So I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit of a description. Quiet on Set was on HBO Max, and Poor Things is on Hulu. Mm-hmm. So, brought back to life by an unorthodox scientist, a young woman runs off with a lawyer on a whirlwind adventure across the continents. Free from the prejudices of her times, she grows steadfast in her purpose to stand for equality and liberation. Mm-hmm. Now, Poor Things was not what I expected
at all.
At all. Like, I don't know what I was expecting when I saw, like, I mean, the commercial gives very weird vibes, but I thought it was going to be kind of a Saltburn situation, like a weird ass family. But it's really not that at all. Basically a scientist finds a woman and she's dead, near death. And she's pregnant, but the baby isn't dead. So this scientist literally takes the brain of her child and puts it in the mother's brain. Mm-hmm. And then that's where this story kind of kicks off. To me, what I felt about this movie was kind of like new age of like a woman finding herself for the first time and like experiencing all these new things for the first time, like her experiencing sex and and it seemed like she loved that. That was the
I was thinking like you were talking about the preview, and I was thinking about the preview, like I didn't know what to expect. But it was so much sex in this movie. It wasn't much it wasn't much they could show.
There wasn't. Like literally, I think every 10 to 15 we're at a sex scene. Mm-hmm. And that was wild. And it's so crazy because like, and I thought like, okay, so you know how like everyone kind of had this big thing about Clarence and like kind of it being
Blasphemous.
I felt like this one had some kind of weird religious kind of standpoints.
Yes,
With
Godwin. That calling
yes.
him God, but he literally was giving life. So I'm like, I could see the play on words.
Yeah, me
Like,
too. Me too. Because she looked at him like, you're God because you gave me life. And
mhm,
then even when her ex-husband who comes back in circles and says like, oh, you've done so many wrong things that Jesus himself would beat you with
mhm,
which is actually opposite of what Jesus would do. Because when we remember back and there was the alleged prostitute or whore, whatever you want to call
right,
her, and they wanted to stone her. He was like, if you, okay, whoever hasn't sinned, throw the first stone. Couldn't nobody throw no stones.
right.
So yeah, this was a really crazy movie, and I
Mhm,
think it even taps into like how men work too, like, and it showed how different men work in different ways. So the lawyer that she ends up fleeing and doing the world with, he's very jealous, he's very controlling. And then as soon as she like gave the money away because she's learning everything for the first time, so she sees that there's poor people, she's like, oh, we need to give them money, and like her brain doesn't. She's learning everything new. She doesn't realize that all human beings can be deceitful, can be these things. So she literally
mhm,
gives a bunch of money to the ship crewmen because they're on like this cruise, and she's
mhm,
like, give those to the poor people down there. And then like he loses all his money and he wants nothing to do with her then at that point. Like, you've broken me. And that basically just shows how men put so much weight on status and on money. And when they don't have those two things, they feel worthless. They feel nothing.
mhm.
Where I feel like women, we can more so like, if we don't have money, it's like, she looked at it like, let's rebuild. Like, let's go on this adventure. Let's figure out a way. And he had nothing to do with it. He was like, look, you ruined my life. You took
Mhm,
all my money and I'm done.
mhm.
It was crazy.
Yeah. I could see how she won Best Actress because she played like, I don't even know the word. I don't want to say oblivious. I guess that might be the word, but so detached,
Yes. Yes.
so well. Like she did play this. They also won Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Production Design, and Best Costume Design.
I can see that.
Yeah, because it was given like futuristic but old timey at the same time.
It was. Because even like when they're on the cruise ship, it gave kind of like an old money kind of vibe. And then like he
Hmm.
was dressed kind of like how I feel like they would dress in like them older days.
Yeah, and I think when she got to France, or they were somewhere, I'm like looking up, and it's like not flying cars, but it was like more of a futuristic type feel.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very interesting costume and setup. I think it's so funny how she drove him crazy. Okay, so the Mark Ruffalo, is that how you say his
Yeah.
name? What
Ruffalo.
Ruffalo? Okay, duh, because Buffalo. Anyway, he was a lawyer, so she was getting a contract by her Godwin Baxter, the man that created her, to get married to his assistant Max and Candles,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted a lawyer to look over it. And Duncan, which is Mark Ruffalo's character, I guess was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Whoa, this woman must be special. They got this legal tight ass
Right, right.
contract
He
tied
wanted
up,"
a piece of that.
and he did. So he basically took her. And my problem with this was like, I mean, Max was her husband the whole time, but he was just letting her do. I mean, I guess for
That's a
her
good
growth,
point.
but he just let her do the whole time. And he's the only man that she did not sleep with on camera. Like they didn't show that at all. They showed her with
Three or four.
Duncan, yeah, with this whole prostitution thing she was doing, but never with
Yeah.
him. And I wonder if that was to kind of differentiate the dynamic.
Yeah, and I think so because even when she told the ex-husband like, hey, I've been a whore, are you okay with that? And he was like, oh, I'll try to see past it. Like, you're gonna have to do a lot for me to get past it, but I'm willing to work with you. Where Max, when she said I've been a whore, he was like, I'm more so jealous about time spent than who's been inside of
Right,
you.
right.
So it's like he just, and like, although I love the mentality, I'm gonna need my man to stand 10, like my man should never let me leave,
Yeah,
like.
because
And Max
every
too. And I feel like it
time,
shouldn't be. It was like one end of the spectrum. I need a nice little middle ground where you stand 10 toes about me and you don't play about me, but you also like I have free will too. Like it can't be like we're not forced to be here. I want to be here. And I feel like after Bella left and was seeing this, which was the part that didn't make sense to me because like after she left Duncan, I thought she realized, okay, you're the type of man I want to be with Max. Like
right,
you're funny, you're cute. Then the ex-husband comes saying like, no, we're actually married, and here's her wanting to get to know herself, but when the brain got put here, she was never, and I think she realized that, like, I'm not Bella. I don't know who I am, but I'm not this person. Even though I have this body and people knew this person, she kept trying to like get to know who she was to other people.
Right. Victoria
And
Buffington.
yeah, and like Victoria is like, it's over for that. You don't even need to know the back history for that. And then she also like was so mad at God, who she called God, for, which was played by Dr. Godwin, for doing this to her and not telling her. But then like when he got sick, she was like, I'm seeing past it. So it's like, and that kind of went to the human part of us too, where like people can do the worst things to us, but when you realize like that their intention, you kind of like, I can see past
Right.
it.
Right.
Because you gave me life again and I'm able to like do these things. And it was just, it was crazy because she was trying to like kill herself, or did she attempt to kill herself? And that's why she was.
She did. Yes, she killed herself when she was
Yeah.
Victoria Blessington. But honestly, the way that they were talking about Victoria, she probably needed a fresh start because it sounded like she was just terrible.
Yeah, because even once, it didn't, yeah. So and then when she was with the ex-husband, he was saying, "Oh, you wanted to kill yourself because you didn't want a baby. You hated the idea of a baby, but it maybe might have been she didn't enjoy her husband."
Right. And the whole movie, like, says it's about liberation, which I can see because she was literally controlled from her new birth. Like, Godwin
Experiment.
she was an experiment. They're raising her. She can't go outside. And then, like, they want to get her married, and then they got this contract. So she's literally been controlled her whole time. And she took the absolute opposite route and became a whole prostitute to liberate herself, which is.
But she became a prostitute to find a place for her and her man to stay. It's like you can do everything for a man, and it's always something. Like she literally did that because he's mad at her for losing the money, and then she's like, okay, well, she was like, how much for a room? And she was like, well, you can charge him 30, I'll charge you 10.
Right.
And she literally did that so she could put a roof over her and Duncan's head. And Duncan was like, you're a whore. I want nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
and he still stayed around. Like, he did not go anywhere. He never left her. He was upset.
Right. Then he tried to come back, and she was like, I don't want, like, you said what you said, and you said you were good off me. So like, I am over here trying to figure out how I ever even liked you. And then that even goes to the black character, Gerard Carmichael. That's who the actor is. But Harry, he was like, why do you stay with him? Which I feel like is a question that people will ask people all the time that are in a situation that don't make sense. She's like, because I always hope he'll get better. Like, I like to think he'll get better.
Yeah.
And we honestly think that, like, I'm victim of that too. Like, thinking like this, and I like to think that nothing is concrete because, like I said earlier, feelings are temporary and fleeting. I like to think that, like, this is not who this person is. Like, they're gonna get better.
Right.
And I feel like Bella with the world got quickly adjusted to like, oh, things are gonna get better. And I even felt like Harry played the woke, like the person in the world that's woke, where he's like, everything's terrible, everything sucks.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how the world is. And like, I think she made a good point and good rebuttal is like, no, you just can't handle the pains of the world. So that's just how you view it and you paint it because you can't handle it.
Yeah.
Like, you just are a little boy and you can't handle it and you got to grow up. And I love that how it did a play on that because I feel like the people that think they're woke, they have it just all figured out and like the world just sucks and da-da-da. And she was like, no, you just can't handle the pain of the world. So you've altered your mindset to believe that everything sucks, nothing is happy, everything's cheery, it's never going to get better. People can never do better. We all just suck as human beings.
Right.
But the truth is, it's an equilibrium. It's there's always going to be bad. There's always going to be good. There's always going to be happiness. There's always going to be sadness. They coexist.
Yeah, it was a very, very interesting watch.
I liked it though. I really did. I did like it. I really did like it, but it was definitely an interesting situation.
Yeah.
And then it just became to the point where she just was putting brains and new brains in everybody.
Yeah.
Because like even after she like shot the ex-husband, then she's like, if we don't help him, he'll die.
Yeah. I gave him a goat brain.
Yeah. He's just in the lawn on the final scene. And it's just like it was definitely a very interesting movie. I could definitely see how it won some things. But this kind of flashed through me like because like for me, I don't know if it's because of just the way like, you know, we're born and raised to kind of like, but I was a little bit uncomfortable with all the sex scenes. I think there were so many. And then I also was thinking about like, what do people like, cause I don't know if that's Emma's body or not.
Right. I think about that too. Like,
and I'm thinking like, yeah, like, is it weird for people to see your body on a screen? And I'm not just talking about
Oppenheimer, like, what's that girl's name? Shoot, Florence.
Florence Hugh?
Yeah.
Florence Pugh, something like that.
Yeah, I was
She's from
thinking the
Don't Worry,
same.
Darling, too.
Yeah, I'm like, it's gotta be really like just whenever they do that.
Yeah, I just think about like your parents' friends seeing it,
Yeah, because you know they're
and
gonna watch
just
it.
yeah, and then it's like other people's husbands that you know seeing it. Like I don't know. I just think about that because like I know her and Taylor Swift are like super close, and I know that like like when you get dressed in a room with girls, like we see each other, but like I don't see what you do behind closed doors,
Mhm.
and I like that space in our friendship. I love that we're close, but I'm glad we have that.
Because you know, they're a little hold up.
We don't need to see that,
Yeah.
So I just wonder about things like that when people make these movies. So like, and I even think about myself, like, is there ever going to be a time if I was in that situation that I would justify? And because I've even heard of some actors saying like, well, if it's the right role, I will be, because I feel like I need to do that to express the character, then I'll do it.
Yeah.
Because even Shailene Woodley or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
she has a movie where she said it is her real boobs and stuff, and she's doing a sex scene, and she said that like it had to be like the right, like I had to feel comfortable. And I don't know if she was like a producer on it where she had to have her more hands in the film to
Yeah.
be able to be. But then I guess it's also like then you have the other side of it where it's just a body. Like, wow, we don't need to put all
Mhm.
this emphasis
I
on
think
it. And
Zendaya has like a no sex clause.
yes, I remember you saying that,
Yeah.
and I don't
If
blame
it's one
her.
movie though, she might reverse on that. The tennis player movie, because I know it's a threesome scene that people are going crazy about. But it only shows her sitting in the room with the boys and like kissing them.
Yeah, and touching, and she's
You
like,
don't know what
yeah,
she actually.
yeah.
It might cut to black.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, we're gonna have to see because I feel like if she does do it, I still don't think we're seeing her body. We may see some expressions of pleasure on her face, some moaning, but I don't think we're getting full body. I don't think we're
Yeah.
getting full nude.
Mm-mm.
Oh, and now that we bring this up, we are getting off the topic, but who cares? That's what the pod's about. It's
Mhm.
about stimulating conversation. Did you see that they're bringing back Euphoria and they started filming? I thought that they weren't going to do it because of what happened.
What?
Sydney White, is that her real name?
Sydney Sweeney.
Thank you. Sydney
Yeah.
White is Amanda Bynes' character. Sydney Sweeney confirmed they're filming.
Because I
And they
always
said
try to figure
somebody else
out
confirmed too.
what are they going to do with Angus Cloud, and then his little brother already was shot up in the bathroom. We still don't know if he survived that scene.
So they may rewrite it and have him and have figure out a way to like make it so that it actually we thought what we see was what did not what we saw in the little brother actually
Mm.
lived and carried on the legacy of his brother.
Yeah, because that would be the only way. Because I mean, he ended it getting, but
Yeah.
yeah, so that would be the only way as a writing,
Yeah.
looking at it. I mean, it's a perfect setup, which I hate to say,
Yeah.
but if you in the house getting shot up and then you're now deceased,
It adds up.
yeah.
Yeah. And I want to know like I want to I mean, I can't make sure of this, but I hope that like with the refilming or like starting back up filming, a percentage of the proceeds is going to go to those that have drug problems. And because I mean, he died of an overdose, right?
Mm-hmm. And then the whole show is about like,
Yeah. Yeah. So like that needs to be done. And then we also need uh reparations for the family
mm-hmm.
till they die. So if you guys are going to start the show back up, that's just my opinion. I think it makes enough money that they can do that and everyone still get a piece of the cake.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just crazy. Because I know, like, I heard that like Zendaya didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. And then it's like they're dragging it out, and it's like it's so many years of high school. Y'all are looking different now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
we'll see. I like Euphoria, so I'm gonna watch regardless.
Yeah, I like it. A lot of
Yeah.
people couldn't get like I have like a couple people that are like, no, I couldn't get into it. It was too like weird and crazy. But I liked it too. Like I like Euphoria. It's a good show.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a while to get on it. Like I think you had already seen a bunch of seasons before I even started watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched it and then like I couldn't stop watching it. So makes sense. I don't think I have any more thoughts on Poor Things. That was really that was it. It was very wild. I recommend people to go watch it. I actually did really like it.
Mm-hmm.
Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 92%, and I would that's about the realm. I'd give it a good A minus. It was good.
Yep, and it's on Hulu, so y'all ain't gotta buy nothing.
Right.
If you got the subscription, just click watch.
Yep, exactly. Moving on to our last one, Shawnee, go ahead and read us the description for well, it's not our last one. We're moving into our Watch Your Shelf for the month of March.
Oh, I forgot we still got to do that. right.
I think it'll be that. Yeah. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So watch your shelf. We had Monster by Walter Dean Myers. And Steve Harmon is a 17-year-old student whose world comes crashing down when he's charged with felony murder. He soon faces a complex legal battle that could leave him spending the rest of his life in prison. I completely forgot about watch your shelf for my notes. I mean, I listened and I watched, so I can say.
I think we can make it super snip and snazzy, and we have
Yeah.
like 5 minutes because before I
Okay.
have to hit the road.
Yeah. So we can talk about Training Day and Imitation of Life on the next one. So you think
Yeah,
that work? Okay.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So for Monster, I did not read the book, so I'll let you do those comparisons.
Okay.
But what I did notice or some questions that kind of arose with Monster was, when he's at the house with Jennifer Hudson as the parent and Jeffrey Wright as his dad, I feel like they're in a brownstone. So I kind of was confused why they're like where the money is for an actual lawyer versus him having a public defender. Like, why did Steve have a public defender? I was a little bit confused by that because it seemed like he came from a little bit of money.
Yes. And they kept referencing as if he was like in the hood, especially when they were talking to his teacher, like, do you live in his neighborhood? Do you know what he really does? And then he keeps running into this ASAP Rocky character. So it seems like he's in the hood, but like you said, they had a very nice brownstone in New York. So I'm not sure. His parents definitely seemed very well off.
They did.
Who was in this? John David, Kelvin Harrison Jr., because we're obsessed.
Yeah. It's his pod.
Yes. ASAP Rocky, Nas, John David Washington, Lovey Simone from Greenleaf, Jennifer Hudson, Jeffrey Wright from American Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is in there that we know? I think that's it. That's pretty much
I think that's it. It's a lot of people that are in this movie.
Yes. And basically Steve, I don't even know. I have to go back and rewatch. I don't know if Steve actually participated or not because they apparently were using him as a signal, a lookout. ASAP Rocky and John David's character were going to rob a bodega in the movie, but it was a drugstore in the book. So they wanted Steve, which is this like filmmaker kind of nerdy kid, to go basically to the store, let them know if somebody was there, give them a signal so they can go in and rob it. When they do go in the store to rob it, the owner of the store brings out a gun and it's a tussle, and ASAP Rocky's character shoots him and kills him.
Yeah.
And then they take like some money, some cigarettes, and go get some chicken. It's very disrespectful.
It is
not worth anybody's life or anybody in jail.
Right.
The main differences I remember seeing between the book and the movie, it was an age difference. I think he was 17 in the movie, 16 in the book.
Okay.
The lawyer for ASAP Rocky was white instead of a black man.
Oh, okay.
Drugstore versus bodega. And it seemed like at the end of the movie, he might have actually been like a lookout, kind of like.
Okay, well, so in the movie, I felt like he was not the lookout, and like, yeah, in the movie, I don't know how the book went, but in the movie, I feel like he was not the lookout. They paint you to think that he is, but you realize that he's not. But the court is gonna see him. Right? Yeah. But he only went to the store because his mom tells him to go get something. But at that point, it had already happened.
Oh, okay. So maybe that's where I was thrown off.
Yeah, it had already happened. And then his mom is telling him to go to the store, and she's looking at the news where all this information had already happened. So he's headed to the store getting the money to go get what she asked him to get.
Okay, so I was confused with that because I'm like, he's definitely showing him leave the school store. He wasn't giving any type of signal. So it kind of seems like he was on the fence of whether he was doing it or not. Oh, it had Jarrell Jerome, I think that's his name, from I'm a Virgo and from When They See Us.
Okay.
There he was the Dominican kid.
That
basically was it. The movie was slower than I expected.
Yeah, I feel like because it really just and that's another thing like that was weird to me is can you be on court with 3 different people? Like it seemed like it was ASAP with his own representation, ASAP, Steve Harmon with his own representation, and then like the state. So I'm like, can it be 3 people on trial? I was so can it? Okay, I don't know how the legal system works, so I was very much confused. Like I would have thought that it would be like when Young Thug and Gunna, I feel like Gunna would have his time, and then it would be like
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't be like Gunna and his representation, Thug and his representation, and then the state. Like I thought that
Yes.
it would be separate court cases. Like I didn't know it could be like I always thought it was like Jeffries versus Roe. I didn't know
Right.
it was Roe versus Jeffries versus Robinson. So
Yeah.
I was confused of that part in the movies. I didn't think that you could multiple people could be on
I
trial.
think like just because, of course, like they wouldn't probably do Thug and Gunner because of who they are, but it's like, all right, these are just these young black people from the hood.
Yeah.
It's the same crime, the same
Yeah.
death. They're supposedly working together. Let's just knock it out. I think that's just how
Yeah.
they treat it.
Yeah. And I think it touched a lot on how the legal system works, where you already saw like the defense for the state coming and trying to like psych her out. Like he's guilty. Like just have him settle. Like have him just pick like 10 years, like 20 years. And she was like, this boy's 17. We're not doing 20. She's like, so then she goes in trying to say, well, what about 10? But I love that the lawyer, even though she's a public defender, she still did try to, ultimately he was found not guilty.
Look,
so I was happy about that.
I'm going to interject right there because in the book, he gets off and he tries to hug her and she flinches and turns the other way.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And he's like, I wonder what she saw in me to make her do that to me. Like, we've been on the same team this whole time.
And your whole thing was trying to get them to not see me how the world sees me, but you yet see me how the world sees me.
Yeah, in the book, it says not guilty. He goes to hug her, like, to celebrate. And she flinches, grabs her stuff up, and like
clutches those pearls.
Yeah, and dips.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was in the book. Yes. And then the book also read, because Steve was a filmmaker. So if you're familiar with the script, it's like internal courtroom. Steve Harmon sits with, it was a lot of that in the book. So yeah, that was a little weird to me. And the dad leaves at the end of the book. Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Like he left the court or he left the family?
Left the family. Yeah. I'm like, why would
abandoned the mom with her 2 sons? Was it 2 kids in the book too? 2 sons? Like he had a younger brother? Okay.
Yeah, he leaves the family. I'm like, what?
Damn.
I think his dad kind of didn't believe either. Like listening to the book, like his dad was kind of on the fence of whether he
did it or not. Damn, which is crazy. You should believe your kid.
Yeah.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
That movie made me cry when I watched it. Did it make you cry?
No, I haven't cried.
Okay. All right. We're gonna get those tears going.
Yeah. I'm heartless.
I don't know what. Okay, I know we're doing it next week, but did you cry with Imitation of Life though?
No. I was pissed the whole movie, but we'll get into that.
We'll get into that next time.
Sarah Jane.
Sarah Jane made me want to. Sarah Jane is different.
Yeah.
Sarah Jane is different. Mama.
Yeah. The whole time. I told my mom, I was like, they should have left her in the 5th grade because she didn't get no better. Like, left her in the 5th grade.
And just have her keep repeating the same day over and over again. Yep. Okay, guys. So next week we'll get into our recommended reviews of each other. So if you still haven't watched it, you still have time to do Training Day, which was Ashana's recommendation for me. And I recommended her to watch Imitation of Life. I'll let Ashana tell you what our next week's watch list is before we head out.
Yes. So next week we have The 3 Body Problem on Netflix, The Holdovers on Peacock, which was an Oscar winner, and then Shirley on Netflix. So yeah, we'll get into all of that.
All right, y'all. Have a great day, great week. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.